Good day, everyone. I am Omar Edison, and here with me are Nick Dakay, Emily Sambo, and Dave Risentan presenting our report controlling. So the topics for our report are what is controlling, steps in the control process, types of controlling, and components of organizational control systems. What is controlling? Controlling refers to the process of ascertaining whether organizational objectives have been achieved. So, dito magagawa natin kung na-achieve na ba natin yung goals ng organization. If yes, tuloy-tuloy lang. If no, ang gagawin natin ay we have to control the situation. Kailangan may mga actions or activities na kailangan gawin for better achievement ng mga objectives in the future. So here are some situations where controlling is needed sa para mabawas yung losses ng kumpanya or nung project. A news report indicated that the fire which destroyed the 800 pesos million Super Ferry 7 luxury ship on March 26, 1997 was caused by illegal connections made on its electrical system. If this is true, the losses could be attributed to inadequate management control. Sample 2, the tragedy that happened at the Ozone Disco in March 18, 1996 clearly manifested management's lack of control over the day-to-day operations of the firm. Even the failure to detect earlier the violations in the building code spells lack of effective government control. Number 3, the management of a telephone company could not stop the unauthorized use of lines assigned to many of its subscribers. Customers became angry when they are billed for calls they never made. Importance of controlling. Controlling helped the organization achieve its goal in the most efficient and effective manner possible. It minimized the ill effects of negative occurrences. These negative occurrences are deviation, mistakes, and shortcomings. When they occur in our daily operations, they contribute to unnecessary expenditures, which increase the cost of the project and the produced goods and services. Proper control measures minimize the ill effects of such negative occurrences. Example of this is an inventory control system kung saan nami-minimize yung mga losses sa mga gamit. Ano, the importance ng controlling maaari itong naipakita kapag sa daily works, halimbawa sa mga gamit, kung sa trabaho ng mga construction, kung kailangan sa isang araw ang isang tao ay nakakabuo ng ilang meters or ilang goods para sa construction, kailangan meron silang limit. Tapos kung hindi nila nakuha yung limit na yun, bibigyan sila ng time para mag-improve, and if within that period of time hindi pa rin sila nag-improve, kailangan nila mag-resign. This way, para mababawasan yung mga loss ng kumpanya or ng project. Next, the steps in the control process will be discussed by Nick Dakay.
So, steps in the control process. The control process consists of four steps. Establishing performance objectives and standards. Ito yung initial step para ma-establish or ma-set yung mga goals and standards. Measuring actual performance. Dito you will gather some data or information to assess how well the task or process are actually performing. Comparing actual performance to objective and standards. Dito naman, you will match the measured performance against the predetermined objective and standards, taking necessary action based on the results of the comparison. So ayun yung mga four steps natin. Then we have establishing performance objectives and standards. So in controlling, what has to be achieved must first be determined. Example of such objectives and standards are sales target, which are expressed in quantity or monetary terms. We have production targets, expressed in quantity or quality. Worker attendance, which are expressed in terms of rate of absences of the worker. Safety record, which is expressed in number of accidents for given periods. Supplies used, which are expressed in quantity or monetary terms for given periods. So, once objectives and standards are established, the measurement of performance will be facilitated. Standards differ among various organizations. In construction firms project, completion dates are useful. Mahalaga na dapat may goal kayo na gusto ma-achieve. And then, meron kayong criteria na nakaset. So, after the performance objectives and standards are established, the methods for measuring performance must be designed. Every standard established must be provided with its own method for measurement. So, ito yung sample. Establish performance objectives and standards. And then, nasa baba nun is measure actual performance. Nasa baba nun, does actual performance match the standards? If yes, do nothing. Pero pwede ka pa rin mag-checking, 'di ba? Para sa kasiguraduhan lang. And then, if no naman, take corrective actions. And then, babalik mo ulit sa measure actual performance. And then, does actual performance match the standards na ba ulit? If maayos yung corrective action na ginawa nyo, dapat mag-match yan sa standard nyo. So, measuring actual performance. There is a need to measure actual performance so that when shortcomings occur, adjustment could be made. The adjustment will depend on the actual findings. Yung measuring tools will differ from organization to organization because every organization have their own unique objectives. Some firms naman, for instance, they will use annual growth rate as a standard basis, while other firms will use some other tools like the market share approach and position in the industry. You have comparing actual performance to objectives and standards. Once actual performance has been determined, this will be compared with what the organization seeks to achieve. Actual production output, for instance, will be compared with the target output. A construction firm entered into a contract with the government to construct a 100-kilometer road within 10 months. It will be then reasonable for management to expect at least 10 kilometers to be constructed every month. As such, this must be this must be verified every month or if possible every week. So ito yung simple explanation para magets natin paano ba yung mga pagse-set ng objectives and standards. Tulad ng example na 'to, nag-set sila ng completion date which is 10 months kasi yun yung nasa contract and then kahit na nag-set sila, may verification pa rin sila na sinusunod which is every month or every week. Mas maganda daw, sabi nila. And then, syempre, kailangan nila yung verification na yun para malaman nila if nasusunod ba na yung goal nila na 100 kilometer. Kasi kapag dinivide mo yun, di ba? 10 by 100 is 10. Nasusunod ba nila yung target nila na 10 kilometer per month? So, ayun, kailangan ng time management dito. And then, dapat flexible tayo. So, take necessary action. The purpose of comparing actual performance with the desired result is to provide management with the opportunity to take corrective action when necessary. Ito yung mga sample na necessary action. Kunwari, hindi umabot yung mga sinet natin para sa goals natin. So, hire additional personnel. Kapag nagkulang ka sa manpower, hire. Pero dapat on the budget. Use more equipments. Kasi pwedeng problem is nagmamalfunction or nasira yung iba. Or marami kang manpower pero yung equipments naman is nagkakaroon ng shortage. So, medyo mahirapan din. And then, kung ano talaga, kailangan talaga ng manpower, require overtime. Yung mga simple na solution or necessary actions. So, that's all for the steps in the control process. And then we have Miss Mascara Emily to discuss about types of control. Thank you.
For the types of control, we have three types of control: the feed-forward control, the concurrent control, and the feedback control. This is the figure of types of control and the relation to operations. Feed-forward control is the pre-operations phase. Concurrent control is the actual operations phase. The feedback control is the post-operation phase. For the feed-forward control, when management anticipates problems and prevents their occurrence, the type of control measures undertaken is called the feed-forward control. This type of control provides the assurance that the required human and non-human resources are in place before operations begin. Feed-forward control is the proactive management strategy that prevents problems by ensuring necessary resources are in place before operation starts. For example, a chemical manufacturing manager selects skilled personnel and inspects materials to avoid resource wastage and potential issues during production. For the concurrent control, when operations are already ongoing and activities to detect variants are made, concurrent control is said to be undertaken. It is always possible that deviations from standards will happen in the production process. When such deviation occur, adjustments are made to ensure compliance with requirements. Information on the adjustments are also necessary in the pre-operation phase. Concurrent control involves real-time monitoring to detect and address deviation during ongoing operations. Example include a construction manager adjusting manpower to counter delays, a water distribution company religiously checking water quality before distribution, and the production manager inspecting electronic products during manufacturing to maintain quality standards. For the feed-forward control, when information is gathered about a complete activity and in order that evaluation steps from improvement are derived, feedback control is undertaken. Corrective actions aimed to improving future activities are features of feedback control. Feedback control involves gathering information after completing an activity to evaluate a performance, validate objectives, and implement correct corrective actions for improvement. It is a process that scrutinizes achievements relative standards and adjustments are made if standards are deemed too high or inappropriate. For instance, a supervisor implementing feedback control might discover that continuous overtime negatively affects output quality, leading to adjustment in the overtime schedule to enhance performance. And here's Dave Tan to discuss about the components and organizational control system.
So, components of organizational control systems. Organizational control systems are crucial for effective management, encompassing strategic plans, long range financial plans, operating budgets, performance appraisals, statistic reports, and policies and procedures. Each component plays a vital role in steering the organization towards its objectives. Next, strategic plans. A strategic plan provides the basic control mechanism for the organization. When there are indications that activities do not facilitate the accomplishment of strategic goals, these activities are either set aside, modified, or expanded. These corrective measures are made possible with the adoption of strategic plans. Well, strategic plans serve as the foundation of organizational control. They act as the guiding force, allowing for the identification and correction of activities hindering the achievement of strategic goals. Let's consider an example. Suppose a company aims to expand its market share. A strategic plan would outline the steps to enter new markets and guide decisions to align with this goal. Next, the long range financial plan. The planning horizon differs from company to company. Most firms will be satisfied with 1 year. Engineering firms, however, will require long term financial plans. This is because of the long lead times needed for capital projects. An example is the engineering firm assigned to the construction the light rail transit or LRT within 3 years. As such, the 3-year financial plan will be very useful. The financial plan recommends a direction for financial activities. If the goal does not appear to be where the firm is headed, the control mechanism should be made to work. Next, the operating budget. An operating budget indicates the expenditures, revenues, or profits planned for some future period regarding operations. The figures appearing in the budget are used as standard measurements for performance. An operating budget is a compass for financial activities, projecting future expenditures, revenues, and profits. Let's imagine a retail company planning for the upcoming year. The operating budget outlines expected sales, costs, and profits and provides a standard for performance evaluation and informed decision making. Next, performance appraisals. Performance appraisal measures employee performance. As such, it provides employee with a guide on how to do their jobs better in the future. Performance appraisals also function as effective checks on new policies and programs. For example, if a new equipment has been acquired for use of an employee, it would be useful to find out if it had a positive effect on his performance. Next, statistical reports. Statistical reports pertain to those that contain data on various developments within the firm. Among the information which may be found in a statistical report pertains the following. Next, statistical reports offer valuable insight to various aspects of the organization. Imagine a manufacturing company reviewing a statistical reports. It includes data on labor efficiency, quality control, rejects, accounts payable and receivable, sales reports, accident reports, and power consumption report. This data points empower informed decision making and performance evaluation. Next, policies and procedures. Policies refer to the framework within the objectives must be pursued. A procedure is a plan that describes the exact series of action to be taken in a given situation. An example of policy is as follows. Whenever two or more activities compete for the company's attention, the client takes priority. An example of a procedure is as follows. One is the concerned manager forwards a request for purchase to the purchasing officer. Second, the purchasing officer forwards the request to top manager for approval. When approved, the purchasing officer makes a canvas of the requested item, and if disapproved, the officer returns the form to the requesting manager. And lastly, the purchasing officer negotiates with the lowest complying bidder. So, policies provide the framework for objective pursuit, while procedures outline specific actions. Consider a policy that whenever two activities compete, the client takes priority. This guides decision making in a competitive scenario. As for procedures, imagine a purchasing process with defined steps. For instance, when acquiring equipment, managers follow a precise series of actions ensuring transparency and efficiency. Next, And that is it for our report about controlling. Thank you so much for listening and have a great day.